Hi, my name is Beth Burks, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications with Chief Industries, and I'm here today with Dave Koubek, the President and General Manager of Chief Buildings, which is the third entity under the Chief umbrella that got started back in 1966. So Dave, tell us a little bit about the milestones and successes that Chief Buildings has seen since it's been started.
Yeah, so we started in 1966. The original owner, Virg Eyehusen, felt there was a need for agricultural buildings in the Midwest. Naturally, if you're going to be located in Nebraska, you have to be ag-oriented. So he started building farm buildings. And then in the 70s, we branched out more into the commercial world, and we went from an all-welded building to a all-bolted building, which is a big leap for us. And so during that time, we switched from just ag buildings, and we started doing churches and offices and manufacturing warehouses. And then in the 80s, we decided to become more than just a regional company. We opened up a plant in Indiana, and so that began our big growth period. And then from there, recently, we just added our third plant in Lancaster, South Carolina. And with all that, we have today 460 employees spread over a lot of states.
Well, and so how many states specifically, and how many locations do you have for Chief Buildings?
That's a great question. So manufacturing-wise, it's in South Carolina, Indiana, and Nebraska, but we have technical services or engineering and drafting and other operations. And they're located in Eufaula, Alabama, Fort Dodge, Iowa, and Lincoln, Nebraska, in addition to Grand Island.
So with all the growth, there's always some challenges. What have been some of the challenges that Chief Buildings had to overcome over these last few decades?
Yeah, so I think challenge-wise, I think probably would all say the same thing. The economy certainly is one that goes up and down, and certainly in the construction cycles, there's big swings in that. We all went through the Great Recession. And then occasionally in our industry, we have supply chain issues. You know, we're relying on the steel mills out there, and sometimes they shut down furnaces for various reasons, or we have tariffs on steel coming in, so there can be some supply chain hiccups along those lines. And then probably the pandemic was a big one for us. I think we learned a lot, and we're a better company on the backside from it, but I don't ever want to go through one of those again the rest of my, at least my working lifetime anyway, hopefully not my lifetime period. So those would be some of the bigger challenges that we face. And when we get to today's world, when we're into the labor world, so I think everybody has had a difficulty time staffing. But for us, not only is it staffing size, but we're losing a lot of people with retirement. People with 40 years. So even though you bring new people in, it takes them a long time before they get 40 years of history built under their belt. So that is our biggest challenge today.
As you talk about this great team and solidified team that you've had for a long time, I'd imagine that is part of why some customers choose to work with Chief. But what are a lot of those reasons why your builders are choosing Chief over any of your other competitors?
Yeah, so there's like 40 metal building companies just like us out there. So they do have plenty of choices to pick from. And so from us, we have to have the baseline of a fair price, quality to a certain level, and service to a certain level. So we do all that, but I think really where we start to separate ourselves is the relationship side of it. We work really hard to create a better customer experience with whatever when they're buying and putting up the buildings out there. So that's where we try to do it. And then we take a little bit further beyond that, and we have what's called a loyalty trip. So we reward our customers for that. And so we take them someplace, sometimes very exotic. I've been to Australia, I've been to Canary Islands last year, a lot of different places, and for 1 week, we get to know them on a different level, and we take that relationship even higher than just a business relationship. And so I think that's what makes a lot of our customers come back to Chief.
And knowing that Chief is a family-owned business, those relationships are important within the walls of Chief, but it sounds like then those relationships are really important between your customers and Chief as well. Mm-hmm. And so as a family-owned business, is that unique in your industry, or are there a lot of your competitors who are publicly owned companies? What kind of landscape is out there?
Yeah, so our industry, years ago, there was quite a bit more metal building companies out there, but they consolidated over the last 20, 25 years. And so there's a really big ones at the top. A lot of those are publicly traded companies, and then we get to the family owned. And so there's very few of us left out there that are family owned that appreciate that side of the business. So yeah, it certainly has changed a lot in our industry.
And so I know that's one of the strategic initiatives that you guys are always looking at and making sure those relationships are there. And yours are looking for success. So what are some of the additional strategic initiatives that you guys are implementing today to look out forward to that success for the future?
Yeah, so I think everybody looks down the technology world. And for us, we're doing our first robotic welders being put in place down in Lancaster, South Carolina. And then we're going to look to put another one of those in Indiana the next year. And then we're always looking at software to help us out. But all that technology, all those processes in place, that's all for building a better customer experience and increasing efficiency and getting our output and lowering our delivery schedule. So I think we're all going down that. But I think even when we talk about these initiatives, we can't lose sight of our mission statement and the way we want to build a relationship. So it's great to have the technology side, but I don't want to lose sight of our core values that help us, which will help us for another 70 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you walk through this building, as well as any other location that you have, you can always feel the buzz and the energy. What is it about working with Chief Buildings that really excites your team?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I will say this. We build about 1,000 structures a year, and each structure is unique to itself, but we do everything from Dollar Generals to O'Reilly's to pickleball courts to churches to manufacturing to warehouses. So when they're doing these things, I mean, there's a lot of parts and pieces that we're fabricating, but when they see the finished product and what it looks like, I think that really gets them excited to come in here every day. And then when they take it a step further than that, they can see the impact on the community. Sometimes it just makes the community better, the pickleball courts, the churches that we build. And sometimes they can see that we're creating jobs for families just like themselves. And we're growing communities. The amount of jobs that are created with every O'Reilly's or every warehouse, every manufacturing operation is tremendous on the economy. And so they really do have a big impact on the overall economy in the United States.
And a lot of people see those buildings as what Chief does. But Chief does so many things. So can you tell me a little bit more about what are some things that you feel that people probably don't know about your industry, about the organization, and about your people here?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of things that makes us unique. One is I don't know if people really realize how environmentally friendly we are, the impact that we have. I think a lot of people think of a big steel mill and a smokestack coming out of the top of it, but almost all the steel that we use is recycled, and at the end of its life cycle, again, it'll be recycled, so that will keep going. Even the primer that we use in today's world is a water-based primer that we recapture all the pigments, and we put it back in the paint tank, and we're really conscious of what we do from an environmental standpoint, so that's a big one. The other thing that I would say that I don't think a lot of people get is when you're in the manufacturing world, I think most people think of welding jobs, machine operators, material handlers, but I don't think they realize what's on the back side of that. So we have 460 employees, 300 of them are probably the ones building the stuff, but we have 160 people that are engineers, drafters, programmers, accountants. So it takes a big world to feed all that, and I don't think people realize how great the jobs are in manufacturing. So I've been doing this since 1985. And I'm still excited today to come to work and be in the manufacturing sector. So if I could tell parents one thing, don't shy away from the manufacturing industry. There are a lot of great jobs out there, and there's a lot of great fulfillment to build something and have an impact on the community and be environmentally conscious.
Well, thank you, Dave. I think all of that information is so pertinent for people to understand that Chief isn't just an employee in certain areas or just filling certain sectors of the industry. We're really building economies, we're building communities, and you can see that all across the country. So I just want to say thank you for your time today, and we can't wait to see what the success holds in the future.
Thank you.